Hello everyone, welcome back to another day in my life. I am Upasona Panday, second professional MBBS student from NILRATAN SIRCAR Medical College and Hospital. Good morning. It was 7:45 am in the morning. I got myself ready, cleaned up my room. Obviously, I got myself a cup of green tea. I prepared myself for the anatomy interactive session. Today's topic of discussion was the diaphragm and stomach. Okay, so these tasks are to explain them, the omenta and their dispositions. The class started around 8:30 am. The budding minds are in search of rays of knowledge to bloom. We started our discussion with the diaphragm. I drew so many diagrams to get them acquainted with the actual location of diaphragm in our body. Diagrams are extremely necessary to visualize anatomy. I also browsed for a lot of diagrams to make them even more comfortable. To tell about our students, they are extremely productive. The way they show curiosity to know, the way they interact in class encourages us a lot to study harder and to discuss the things in detail and in depth. Like I always say, education is bi-directional. After discussing the diaphragm, the structures piercing the diaphragm to enter the abdominal cavity, we switched to our discussion of the stomach. As you can see, I was discussing about the arterial supply of the stomach, then the venous drainage. I discussed in detail about the anterior and the posterior relations of the stomach. Yes, the posterior inferior surface, the stomach bed is important. Then we had also discussed about the lymphatic drainage, the nerve supply, and this is the part I was explaining them the development of the stomach. Yes, the highlighter was used as the foregut, and then I used the clay to give them a better demonstration of the lesser curvature and the greater curvature. And then the last class I made a blunder in that. I forgot to record the part for which I prepared in the morning. I prepared those illustrations with my paper and put highlighters in between them, but I feel sorry for myself that I forgot to record that part of the class and I have to mock record that part. And then it was almost 1 p.m. So I took my shower and then set for study. Yes, you always know I pick up pathology, the first subject of the day. So I started with GIT, and this is the part I was going through stomach, the ulcers of the stomach. I didn't target many topics today. I have studied with systemic pathology and there are lots of things to study. I picked up GI system at first. There are so many diseases to know about and GIT is first. I only thought of going through the diseases of stomach today. I focused on writing a lot of stuffs. There are so many diseases and there are so many diseases that are so closely related that if you miss one feature, one pathophysiology, then you will mix up two diseases. This is dangerous. By the time I was already feeling very hungry. Ma also insisted to have lunch, so I went to take my lunch, had some gupsup there, and which you know I always love having. And this is the clip to once more show how much I feel sorry for myself for not having recorded the part which I waited for. Okay. I thought of resuming my studies after I come back from lunch, but it was a complete failure. I was in dire need of sleep because I slept for 3 or 3.5 hours at night because I couldn't complete the topics of anatomy so quickly, so I had to compromise my sleep at night. But I slept for around 2 hours in the afternoon, got a fresh. Then I thought of resuming the studies, and I was continuing with the ulcers of stomach. After studying through the evening, it was 9:15 p.m. I took a short break and played some games like 2 to 3 matches, and then it was already time for dinner. I didn't delay and took my dinner. Had lots of gossips there with parents, and then straight resumed to study after saying good night to my parents. I continued with the diseases of the stomach. I already read about the gastropathy and the acute gastritis, the minute differences between them based on the point of inflammation. Refer to the beautiful diagram of the gastric injury given in Robbins. For the Helicobacter pylori gastritis, I referred to YouTube videos but wasn't satisfied. So I referred to Katie Tripatisar's book for getting an overview, which I did already study, and then switched back to Robbins and continued reading and writing. Let's recap some of the topics. Like the virulence factors related to the H. pylori are its flagella, the urease enzyme that generates ammonia to increase the local pH for its own survival, and then the adhesions and the toxins, that is the CAG-A. Then I switch to autoimmune atrophic gastritis. Whenever I think of this autoimmune disease to the stomach, one thing comes to my mind, that is pernicious anemia. Like I did already mention that the diseases of stomach are very closely related. Like the autoimmune disease affects mostly the fundus in the body, but when it comes to the H. pylori, the pyloric antrum is the affected region. It can also affect the body, but the commonest site is the pyloric antrum. And then I switched to the uncommon forms of gastritis, like the eosinophilic gastritis, the lymphocytic gastritis, or the granulomatous gastritis. You see Johnny peacefully sleeping under my chair and me trying to distract him by moving my chair, but it failed attempts because when he sleeps, it's next to impossible to move him. Whenever I study any disease, I always prefer having a look at the clinical manifestations by looking at the various images. Also, the histopathological slides that creates an impression when referred to along with the text. These uncommon forms of gastritis are easy. Like for the eosinophilic gastritis, there are dense infiltrates of the eosinophils in the mucosa and the muscularis layer. The lymphocytic gastritis, there are increase in the number of the T lymphocytes. As easy as that. After studying so many diseases of the GIT, starting with the generalized diseases, then moving to the diseases of the esophagus, then now the stomach, and I'm left with the small intestine, large intestine, the liver. I really feel haphazard at this stage, and I need to give a quick revision to the stuffs that I have already studied, because there are so many diseases that things are very volatile at this stage, and this really needs a number of practice. Otherwise, the retention procedure will give a negative result. Retaining the diseases with their clinical manifestations, I mean the endoscopic studies, the histopathological slides, is a difficult task, but we are definitely going to win with a number of practice. Then I moved to the peptic ulcer, but I was feeling damn sleepy at this stage, so I preferred sleeping. So it's time to bid a good night. Take care, tata, bye bye. If you like the video, put a thumbs up, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe the channel for more such amazing videos. Keep rocking, champs!